plan is Street Fighter 5 and Batman versus Ra's al Ghul Battle for Grace. It's gonna be live.
In a world where chaos reigns and connections seem fleeting, one visionary endeavor seeks to bring us all together. Zen Theatre live after dark. Harnessing the transformative power of artificial intelligence, the timeless charm of radio theater, the wisdom of books, and the excitement of video games. Zen Theatre Live After Dark illuminates the path to enlightenment and fosters a sense of unity among its audience. Through this unique fusion of storytelling and interactive experiences, we aim to nurture personal growth, improve learning, and inspire a peaceful existence. Guided by your obedient servant, Sebastian Saint Serapian Smalls, we embark on a journey of self-discovery. But where do we begin? Begin by simply listening, slow down, see just how peaceful today can be. Together, we shall create a harmonious community, bound by shared passions and a desire to elevate the human experience. Sebastian Saint Serapian Smalls will be there, to the end of the line, my Valentine, guiding you on this journey towards a more serene and enlightened tomorrow. Catch you guys on the flip side.
Begin by simply listening, slow down, see just how peaceful today can be. Greetings, children. It is I, your obedient servant, Sebastian St. Smalls. The plan for this one is Batman, Battle for Grace versus Ra's al Ghul, and Street Fighter 5. Thanks for swinging by. Wish us luck.
Into Bruce's eyes and flashed a sly smile.
Let's start at the beginning.
Document selected. The charity ball at Wayne Manor was in full swing, with Gotham City's elite mingling beneath the chandeliers that lit up the grand ballroom. Bruce Wayne, dressed impeccable in a tailored suit, scanned the room for potential dangers. Although the event was meant to raise funds for Gotham's underprivileged youth, Bruce never let his guard down. As the music swelled, a captivating figure in a slinky black dress caught Bruce's eye. It was Selina Kyle, better known as Catwoman. Intrigued, he approached her and extended his hand. "May I have this dance, Miss Kyle?" Selina looked into Bruce's eyes and flashed a sly smile. "Why, Mr. Wayne, I thought you'd never ask." She took his hand, and they gracefully glided onto the dance floor. As they danced, Bruce couldn't help but admire Selina's poise and elegance. She moved with the fluidity and grace of a cat, perfectly in tune with the music. Their eyes locked, and a charged silence fell between them. Bruce decided to use this opportunity to learn more about Selina's intentions. "You know, Miss Kyle, I've always found your extracurricular activities quite fascinating." Selina raised an eyebrow. "Oh. And what activities might those be, Mr. Wayne?" He leaned in, his voice low and confidential. "I believe we both know the answer to that. I'm just curious as to why you're here tonight." Selina matched his tone, her eyes never leaving his. "Perhaps I'm I'm just here to enjoy the music and the company, or maybe I'm here for the same reason you are, to keep an eye on things. As they continued to dance, Bruce felt a strange connection to Selena. They shared a similar darkness within, but he couldn't afford to let his feelings interfere with his mission as Batman. He needed to keep his focus on the potential threat lurking within the walls of Wayne Manor. The song ended, and Bruce reluctantly released Selena's hand. "Thank you for the dance, Miss Kyle." Selena smiled enigmatically. "The pleasure was all mine, Mr. Wayne. Until we meet again." As she slipped away into the crowd, Bruce couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to Selena's presence at the ball than she was letting on.
Hey,
He
what's up?
knew that he needed to keep a close eye on her
Have a
throughout
good
the
day.
night, but he couldn't deny the undeniable attraction that had sparked between them.
I'm
As the
making
night
a video
wore
right
on,
now and playing Street
Bruce
Fighter. Do you want me to
continued
call
to
you back?
watch Selena from a distance, trying to decipher
Sure.
her true intentions.
Right back.
Little did he know that the events that unfolded later that evening would thrust them both into a dangerous web of intrigue involving the GPD, the League of Shadows, and a devious plot
Not
that
till now.
threatened to tear Gotham City apart. A few days after the charity ball, Bruce couldn't stop thinking about his dance with Selena.
Don't say
He
anything too
knew it was
personal because
dangerous
we're
to
broadcasting
entertain
live
any
to the whole
feelings
world
for
and they can
her,
probably
but
hear
he
you.
couldn't resist the opportunity to get to know her better. He decided to ask Selena out on a date,
She just wants me to call
hoping
back
to
when
learn
I'm
more
not
about
making
her
a video.
and potentially uncover any hidden motives. Bruce chose a small, upscale restaurant for their rendezvous, a place where they could enjoy an intimate conversation without drawing too much attention. As Selena entered the restaurant, she took Bruce's breath
Just in
away.
case they can hear you, is there anything you want to say to our live and future audience?
To make the room glow. They exchanged pleasantries before diving into more meaningful
Tell them
conversation.
the video's gonna be epic.
As the evening progressed, Bruce found
Never
himself
mind.
genuinely enjoying Selena's company. She was intelligent, charming, and incredibly perceptive. He couldn't help but be drawn to her. However, Bruce couldn't completely let go of his suspicions.
Shoot!
As they sipped
Wrong
their
one.
wine, he decided to probe a little further. "Selena, I have to ask, what is it that drives you to do the things you do? I mean,
Sweep
your
the leg,
out
Johnny."
nighttime activities." Selena's eyes flickered with a hint of amusement. "Bruce, you're a man who leads a double life yourself.
I love you, but I don't have
I
to like
think
you right
you'd
now.
understand better than most that there are certain complexities that drive us to make the choices we do." Bruce nodded, realizing that Selena was more perceptive than he had initially given her credit for. She had seen through his facade, and he couldn't help but respect her for it. As their date continued, an uneasy feeling began to settle in the pit of Bruce's stomach. He knew he was playing with fire by getting close to Selena, but he couldn't seem to help himself. The chemistry between them was undeniable, and he found himself drawn to her like a moth to a flame. Unfortunately, their intimate evening was interrupted by an urgent call from Alfred. There had been a major incident in the city, and Batman was needed immediately. With a heavy heart, Bruce excused himself from the table, leaving Selena with an apologetic look and a promise to make it up to her. As he raced to the Batcave to suit up, Bruce couldn't help but wonder if his ill-fated date with Selena had been a mistake. He knew he had to focus on the mission at hand, but his thoughts kept drifting back to the enigmatic woman who had captured his heart. Little did he know that their paths would cross again sooner than he expected, as they both became entangled in the unfolding mystery surrounding
No.
the GPD, the League of Shadows, and a computer hack plot that would bring Gotham to its knees. As Batman suited up and prepared to investigate the major incident Alfred had informed him about, he couldn't shake the feeling that something much larger was at play.
I do not
He
deserve
left
to
the
win this one.
Batcave, determined to uncover the truth behind the sudden chaos gripping Gotham City. Upon arriving at the scene, Batman discovered that the Gotham Police Department's computer systems had been compromised.
Oh, I saw the chain.
Critical information was being leaked, and it seemed that every criminal in the city was taking advantage of the chaos. Batman knew he needed to act quickly to prevent further
good
damage.
check.
As he delved deeper into the hack, Batman discovered a series of encrypted messages hidden within the GPD system. After hours of deciphering the code, he uncovered a shocking revelation. The League of Shadows had infiltrated the police department and orchestrated the entire hack. What's more, they had done so with the help of a highly skilled computer hacker.
Basic
Batman couldn't help but
maneuvers.
think of Selina Kyle. Could she be involved in this plot? The thought made his heart ache, but he knew he had to consider every possibility.
Crud.
He decided to track down Selina and confront her about her potential involvement. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to Batman, Selina had been conducting her own investigation into the computer hack. She had discovered that someone within the League of Shadows had contacted her, offering a significant sum of money in exchange for her skills. Selina had initially accepted the offer, intrigued by the challenge and the potential payout. However, as she learned more about the League's true intentions, she began to have second thoughts. As Batman and Catwoman continued their separate investigations, they were each led to a mysterious warehouse on the outskirts of Gotham. Inside, they discovered a secret meeting taking place between the key members of the League of Shadows, led by none other than Ra's al Ghul. Upon seeing each other, Batman and Catwoman shared a tense moment, each unsure of the
If
other's
this is
true
Cayman,
intentions.
I have no chance.
But it quickly became clear that they both wanted to stop the League of Shadows and protect Gotham City. Together, they formulated a plan to expose the League's
Smooth
infiltration
62.
of the GPD
Okay.
and put an end to their sinister plot.
In this case, it might be an actual
But as they
competition.
worked side by side, Batman couldn't help but be torn between his feelings for Selina and his duty to protect the city he loved. And as they prepared to face off against the League of Shadows, they knew that their actions would have far-reaching consequences for both Gotham and their own futures. I couldn't help but feel a mixture of relief and lingering doubt as Selina and I worked together to expose the League of Shadows' infiltration of the GPD. The possibility that she might have been involved in their plot had weighed heavily on my mind, but her actions spoke volumes. Our mission was far from over, though. We still had to face Ra's al Ghul and his powerful allies. As we prepared our strategy, a new development emerged. Alfred contacted me over the Batcoms, his voice tense. Master Wayne, I have some troubling news. It seems that Poison Ivy has targeted you, or rather, Bruce Wayne. Poison Ivy. I muttered, my heart racing. What's her plan? She's been spotted at Wayne Enterprises, Alfred informed me. She's taken several employees hostage and is demanding that Bruce Wayne make a public appearance. I sighed, my mind racing. Selina, we have a new problem. Poison Ivy is at Wayne Enterprises. She's taken hostages and wants me, Bruce Wayne, to show up. Selina's eyes narrowed. That's not good. What are you going to do? I have to go, I said with determination. We need to continue our plan to expose the League of Shadows. I trust you, Selina. She nodded, her eyes filled with resolve. I won't let
Probably
you
gonna
down,
have a
Bruce.
video long
Be careful. As I made my way to Wayne Enterprises, my thoughts were a whirlwind. Why would Poison Ivy target me? Was she working with the League of Shadows, or was this a separate threat? I couldn't afford to underestimate her. When I arrived, I found Poison Ivy waiting for me in my office, her green eyes gleaming with menace. She had wrapped her vines around my terrified employees, holding them captive. "Ah, Mr. Wayne," she purred, her voice dripping with malice. "So nice of you to join us. What do you want, Ivy?" I demanded, trying to maintain my composure. "Oh, it's simple, really," she replied, a wicked smile playing on her lips. "You see, your company has been responsible for some unsavory business practices. Practices that have hurt the environment and the plants I hold so dear. You will publicly admit to these misdeeds and pledge to change your ways, or your precious employees will suffer." Looked into her eyes and knew she meant every word. I would have to find a way to save my employees and stop her, without revealing my true identity. It would be a delicate balancing act, but I was up to the challenge. Little did I know, our confrontation with Poison Ivy would lead me further down the twisted path of the League of Shadows, Selena's loyalties, and the ultimate battle for Gotham City's soul. After managing to subdue Poison Ivy and save the hostages, I returned to the Batcave, my mind heavy with the realization that my enemies were growing bolder by the day. Ivy's actions had put Bruce Wayne and Batman on a collision course, and I knew I couldn't keep this up for much longer. It wasn't long before I was pulled into action again. Selena, now in her Catwoman persona, had located a secret League of Shadows hideout in Gotham. She sent me the coordinates, and I quickly suited up, my heart pounding in anticipation. When I arrived at the location, I found Catwoman perched on a rooftop ledge, her eyes scanning the surrounding area. "Glad you could make it, Batman," she purred, her voice teasing yet tense. "I appreciate the intel, Catwoman," I replied, my gaze focused on the building below us. "What's the plan?" "We take them down together," she said, a hint of excitement in her voice. "Think you can keep up?" I smirked beneath my cowl. "Try to keep up with me." Together, we infiltrated the League of Shadows hideout, our movements in perfect sync. As we fought our way through the ranks, I couldn't help but be impressed by Catwoman's skill and grace. She was every bit my equal, and I found myself both exhilarated and unnerved by the partnership we had formed. As we battled our way deeper into the hideout, we were confronted by a group of heavily armed League members, led by a woman who moved with deadly precision. It was clear she was a high-ranking member of the organization, and the danger she posed was evident in every move she made. "Batman, Catwoman," she sneered, her eyes cold and calculating. "I've been looking forward to this moment." Without warning, she lunged at us, her sword slashing through the air. Catwoman and I fought side by side, our movements fluid and seamless as we countered her relentless attacks. The battle was intense, and I could see the strain in Catwoman's eyes as we fought to keep the upper hand. Despite our efforts, the woman managed to land a hit on Catwoman, slicing her arm and drawing blood. The sight of her pain sent a surge of anger through me, and I redoubled my efforts, my fists aglow as I fought to protect her. Finally, with a well-timed pass, I sent our assailant sprawling to the ground, her sword clattering across the floor. Catwoman and I stood over her, our chests heaving from the exertion. "We did it," Catwoman panted, her eyes wide with adrenaline. "Together." As I looked into her eyes, I felt a strange mixture of relief, pride, and something else, something I couldn't quite put my finger on. But I knew one thing for certain, our alliance had grown stronger than ever, and together, we would bring down the League of Shadows and save Gotham City. The following day, as Bruce Wayne, I attended a charity gala at Wayne Manor. The glittering event was filled with Gotham's elite, all gathered to raise funds for a new children's hospital. As I made my way through the crowd, I spotted a familiar face, Ra's al Ghul. The leader of the League of Shadows stood out among the guests, his piercing eyes and enigmatic presence drawing my attention. I approached him, careful to keep my surprise and suspicion hidden behind a polite smile. Mr. Ghul, I said, extending my hand. I didn't expect to see you here. Mr. Wayne, he replied, shaking my hand firmly. Your philanthropy is well known, and I must admit that I find your efforts to improve Gotham City commendable. Thank you, I replied cautiously. It's always a pleasure to meet someone who shares my dedication to making the city a better place. Indeed, Roz agreed. Though our methods may differ, our goals are not so different, are they? I raised an eyebrow, sensing the unspoken challenge in his words. Perhaps not. But I believe in working within the law to effect change. Ross chuckled, a sinister edge to his laughter. Ah, the law. A fragile construct, easily manipulated by those with power and influence. The League of Shadows seeks a more direct approach. I clenched my jaw, struggling to maintain my composure. I can't say I agree with your methods, Mr. Ghul. He leaned in closer, his eyes locked onto mine. Tell me, Mr. Wayne, have you ever considered that your crusade to save Gotham may be doomed to fail? I met his gaze, refusing to be intimidated. I believe that every life I save, every criminal I bring to justice, is a step towards a better future for this city. Ross smiled, a predatory gleam in his eyes. Very well. I look forward to seeing the fruits of your labor. With that, he turned and walked away, leaving me with a sense of unease that I couldn't shake. I knew that Ra's al Ghul was a formidable opponent, and that his presence in Gotham spelled danger for both Batman and Bruce Wayne. But I also knew that I couldn't back down. I had a responsibility to protect my city, and I would face whatever challenges lay ahead, no matter the cost. As I continued to dig deeper into the League of Shadows, it became clear to me that Ra's al Ghul's presence in Gotham was far from coincidental. Through my investigations as Batman, I discovered that the League had infiltrated various levels of the city's infrastructure, from the GPD to the local politicians. Their influence was pervasive, and it seemed that their goal was nothing short of total control over Gotham. The more I learned about the League, the stronger my vendetta against them grew. I couldn't stand idly by while they manipulated and corrupted my city from within. I vowed to dismantle their network and put an end to their schemes. As I worked tirelessly to uncover the League's secrets, I found myself crossing paths with Catwoman more frequently. Though our relationship remained complicated, I couldn't deny that her skills and knowledge of the criminal underworld proved invaluable in my fight against the League. One night, while tracking down a lead on a League-safe house, Catwoman and I stumbled upon a secret meeting between several high-ranking members of the organization. We listened from the shadows, as they discussed their plans to further infiltrate the GPD through a complex computer hack. The implications were chilling. If the League succeeded in taking control of the GPD's systems, they would have unprecedented power over Gotham's law enforcement and, by extension, the city itself. Determined to put a stop to their plans, Catwoman and I teamed up to gather evidence and expose the League's conspiracy. As we worked together, I found myself growing closer to Selina, her witty determination drawing me in despite my reservations. But in the back of my mind, a nagging doubt remained.
I'm tired.
Could I truly trust Catwoman, or was she just another pawn in the League's twisted game?
I'm tired.
As Catwoman and I closed in on the League's stronghold, I knew that our confrontation with Ra's al Ghul was inevitable. He was the puppet master behind the League's infiltration of Gotham, and it was clear that he wouldn't go down without a fight. The night was cold and the moonlight cast eerie shadows on the abandoned warehouse that served as the League's hideout. Catwoman and I approached cautiously, our senses on high alert. As we entered the warehouse, we were met with an eerie silence. It was obvious that the League was prepared for our arrival. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, clad in the dark robes of the League of Shadows. It was Ra's al Ghul, his eyes burning with a cold fury. "So, you've finally come to challenge me," backing he sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. "I must say, I'm disappointed. I have hoped you were joining me in our quest for a better Gotham. But instead, you've chosen to align yourself with a common thief." I clenched my fists, anger and frustration boiling inside me. "Your idea of a better Gotham is nothing more than a twisted fantasy, Ross. I'll never be a part of it." With a sinister grin, Ra's al Ghul lunged forward, his sword slashing through the air. I barely managed to dodge the deadly blade, using my own weapon to parry his attack. Our swords clashed, the sound echoing through the warehouse as we engaged in a fierce battle. Catwoman, meanwhile, had her hands full with several League members who had joined the fray. Her agility and cunning were more than a match for them, but I couldn't help but worry about her safety. As my battle with Ra's raged on, I could see that he was a formidable opponent. His swordsmanship was unparalleled, and he fought with a ruthless determination. But I refused to give in, using every ounce of my strength and skill to counter his relentless assault. As we fought, I could feel the weight of the city on my shoulders, the responsibility of protecting Gotham driving me forward. I knew that I couldn't afford to fail, that the fate of my city hung in the balance. Our swords continued to clash, the metallic sound ringing through the warehouse. Sweat trickled down my brow as I searched for an opening in Ra's al Ghul's defenses. At that moment, Catwoman's voice rang out, drawing my attention. "Bruce, I need to tell you something," she shouted, her eyes filled with urgency. "What is it, Selina?" I asked, not taking my eyes off my formidable opponent. "I didn't tell you the whole truth about the computer hack plot." "There's more to it than I originally let on," she confessed, her voice strained. I hesitated for a moment, torn between the battle with Ra's and the revelation Catwoman was about to share. But I knew that whatever it was, it could potentially change the course of our mission. I managed to momentarily disarm Ra's, and used the brief reprieve to hear Catwoman out. "Selina, what are you talking about?" I questioned, my heart pounding in my chest. She took a deep breath before continuing. "The computer hack plot was designed to expose the League's control over GPD, but there was more to it. I was also gathering information to help take down the League for good. The hack was a means to an end, Bruce. I wanted to stop them just as much as you do." I I stared at her, a mixture of relief and gratitude washing over me. Thank you, Selena. I trust you. With a renewed sense of determination, I turned my attention back to Ras Al Ghul, who had regained his footing and was once again preparing to strike. As our swords met once more, I could see the surprise and rage in his eyes. You may have discovered our plans, Batman, but you will not stop the League of Shadows. We will rise again, stronger than before, he bellows, launching another furious attack. Together, Catwoman and I fought side by side, determined to put an end to the League's reign of terror over Gotham. And with every strike, I knew that we were one step closer to saving our city. As we continued to battle Ras Al Ghul and his henchmen, I couldn't shake the internal conflict that raged within me. My desire for vengeance against those who sought to destroy Gotham City was at odds with my growing love for Selena. I found myself questioning whether I could fully commit to our relationship while the specter of the League of Shadows hung over us. Would my quest for justice ultimately jeopardize what we had built together? Could I truly allow myself to trust her, knowing that her past actions were rooted in her own personal vendettas? As I deflected another of Ras Al Ghul's blows, I caught a glimpse of Catwoman in the fray, gracefully dodging her opponent's attacks with the same skill and cunning that had first drawn me to her. In that moment, I was reminded that our shared drive to protect Gotham was what united us, the very thing that made us a formidable team. We can do this, Batman. Selena shouted, her eyes meeting mine as she momentarily disarmed one of her adversaries. I nodded, allowing myself to trust in her and in our partnership. Together, we'll take them down. Fueled by that conviction, we fought with renewed vigor, our movements synchronized and fluid. As I took down the last of Ras Al Ghul's henchmen, I turned to see Selena deliver a final, decisive blow to the League's leader. He crumpled to the ground, defeated and unconscious. With the immediate threat neutralized, I approached Catwoman, my heart heavy with the weight of our victory and the knowledge of the challenges that still lay ahead. Selena, I began, my voice wavering slightly. I want you to know that I trust you, and I care for you deeply. But we both know that the path we've chosen is a dangerous one, and our love for one another may only make it more so. She looked at me, her eyes filled with understanding and sadness. I know, Bruce. But I also know that we're stronger together than we are apart. And I'm willing to face whatever comes our way, as long as we face it together. I hesitated for a moment before finally taking her hand in mine, my resolve strengthening. Together I agreed, knowing that the road ahead would be fraught with peril, but that our love would be our guiding light in the darkness. After the dust settled, Serene and I returned to the back cave to regroup and plan our next move against the League of Shadows. It seems that Ras Al Ghul had been the tip of the iceberg,
a three-hit combo from the far upper right corner of the
screen for
screen.
Gotham City. As I sifted through the data we had collected, I received a distress call from Commissioner Gordon. Poison Ivy had resurfaced, and it appeared she had set her sights on Bruce Wayne as her next target. Selena, I said, my concern evident in my voice. It looks like we have another problem to deal with. Poison Ivy is back, and she's targeting me, or rather, Bruce Wayne. She frowned, her brow furrowed in thought. Why would she go after Bruce Wayne? What does she stand to gain? I leaned back in my chair, considering the possibilities.
I'm gonna pat myself on the back for having a good block there.
Terrorist at heart. Perhaps she sees Wayne Enterprises as a threat to her cause. Or maybe she's discovered my secret identity and is trying to strike at the heart of Batman. Selena nodded, her expression determined. Regardless of her motives, we need to stop her before she causes any more harm. Together, we formulated a plan to confront Poison Ivy and protect Bruce Wayne.
If I keep up this epic loose streak,
I
I'll
would
join
attend
the
a charity
platinum.
gala that Wayne Enterprises was
They are not
hosting, an
prepared to
event
deal with
Ivy
me.
was likely to target, while Selena, as Catwoman, would provide backup and surveillance from the shadows. As I entered the opulent ballroom, I kept my senses on high alert, ready for any sign
As
of
a group,
Poison Ivy's
obviously
presence.
this one was. He just leveled up.
The room was abuzz with Gotham's elite, but I knew that beneath the veneer of glamour and sophistication lurked a danger that could strike at any moment. As the charity gala unfolded, I noticed the attendees around me becoming increasingly uneasy, their conversations growing hushed and tense. I suspected that Poison Ivy had already infiltrated the event and was preparing to strike. I discreetly reached for my comlink and murmured to Selena, "Keep your eyes peeled. Something's not right here." "I've noticed it too," she whispered back. "I'm on the lookout for anything unusual." As I scanned the room, I spotted a group of people huddled around a laptop at the far end of the ballroom. They seemed to be frantically trying to fix something, and I could sense their growing panic. Making my way over, I tried to inconspicuously peer over their shoulders. I caught a glimpse of lines of code flashing across the screen, and my heart sank as I realized what was happening. The League of Shadows had initiated their computer hack, and it was already wreaking havoc on the GPD's systems. "Ivy's not our only problem tonight," I whispered to Selena. "The League of Shadows has begun their hack. We need to put a stop to it." "Understood," she replied. "I'll keep an eye on the situation here. You deal with the hack." I slipped away from the gala, making my way to a hidden alcove where I could change into my Batman attire. Once suited up, I raced across the rooftops of Gotham, heading straight for the GPD's main server room. When I arrived, I found the door to the server room wide open, and the room itself in disarray. It seemed that the League of Shadows had infiltrated the building and tampered with the servers directly. I immediately set to work, trying to reverse the damage they had done and secure the GPD's systems once more. As I worked, I couldn't help but worry about Selena and the situation back at the charity gala. With Poison Ivy on the loose and the GPD compromised, we were fighting on two fronts and the stakes had never been higher. After successfully reversing the hack and restoring the GPD's systems, I knew I had to uncover how the League of Shadows had infiltrated the department. Every lead I followed seemed to take me further into a web of deception and corruption. As Batman, I couldn't afford to let this go unchecked. I began my investigation by seeking out informants within the criminal underworld. My sources pointed me toward a shadowy figure who had been conducting business with some of Gotham's most notorious criminals. The mysterious figure had been supplying them with advanced weaponry and technology in exchange for their loyalty to the League. My search led me to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city. I found the place heavily guarded, with armed men patrolling the area. I knew I had to be cautious and stealthy in my approach. I swiftly took down the guards one by one, using the shadows to my advantage. As I infiltrated the warehouse, I found evidence of the League's involvement with the GPD. There were documents detailing their plans to corrupt high-ranking officials within the department, as well as blueprints for an advanced surveillance system that would give the League unprecedented access to the city's infrastructure. I was disturbed to find that some of the corrupted officers were people I had once trusted, like Commissioner Gordon. It pained me to think that he could be involved in such a nefarious scheme, but I couldn't let my personal feelings cloud my judgment. I needed to bring the League of Shadows to justice and expose their insidious plot. As I continued to investigate, I discovered that the mysterious figure orchestrating the League's operations in Gotham was none other than Ra's al Ghul himself. It seemed that he had returned from the dead once again, determined to see his twisted vision for the world come to fruition. In order to stop Ra's and his League of Shadows, I knew I had to find a way to dismantle their operation from the inside. I gathered all the evidence I could find and prepared to confront Ra's directly. But first, I had to deal with the corruption within the GPD and protect the city from the League's clutches. I returned to the Batcave and began compiling a list of the officers and officials who had been compromised by the League. It was a heart-breaking task, knowing that so many people I had once considered allies were now working against me. But I couldn't let sentimentality stand in the way of my mission to save Gotham. Once I had identified the corrupt officers, I anonymously forwarded the evidence to the remaining trustworthy members of the GPD. I hoped that by exposing the corruption, we could begin to rebuild the department and restore the public's faith in the justice system. With the GPD situation handled, I knew it was time to confront Ra's al Ghul and put an end to his schemes once and for all. I donned my bat suit and prepared to face one of my greatest enemies in a battle that would determine the fate of Gotham City. The battle against Ra's al Ghul and the League of Shadows took a toll on me, both physically and mentally. I was constantly grappling with the duality of my life as Bruce Wayne and Batman, and the strain was becoming more apparent each day. My thoughts were consumed by the weight of my responsibility to Gotham and the burden of my secret identity. As Bruce Wayne, I needed to maintain appearances and continue my work at Wayne Enterprises. I had to attend meetings, make public appearances, and live up to the expectations of the people who looked up to me as the face of the company. I could feel the tension mounting as I tried to juggle the demands of my public life with my responsibilities as Batman. Meanwhile, my relationship with Selina had grown more complicated. As Batman, I knew that I couldn't fully trust her, considering her role in the GPD hack and her connection to the League of Shadows. But as Bruce Wayne, I couldn't help but feel drawn to her. The chemistry between us was undeniable, and our shared experiences only served to deepen our connection. I found myself torn between my desire to be with Selina and my responsibility to protect Gotham City. I knew that pursuing a relationship with her could jeopardize my mission and expose my secret identity, but the feelings I had for her were difficult to ignore. One evening, after a long day at Wayne Enterprises, I decided to pay Selina a visit at her apartment. As Bruce Wayne, I wanted to talk to her and try to understand her motives, to see if there was a chance for us to move forward together. When I arrived, Selina greeted me with a mixture of surprise and warmth. We sat on her couch and began to talk, sharing our thoughts and feelings about the events that had transpired. As we spoke, I realized that Selina was struggling with her own duality, caught between her life as Catwoman and her desire to be with me. I wanted to believe that we could find a way to be together, but I knew that it hate personal feelings from our duties to Gotham. As much as I wanted to be with Selina, I couldn't abandon my responsibility as Batman. As our conversation came to an end, I knew that I had to make a decision. I had to find find a way to balance my dual identity and maintain my focus on protecting Gotham City. I needed to be the hero that the city needed, while also finding a way to be true to myself and my feelings for Selena. The road ahead would be difficult, but I was determined to navigate the challenges that lay before me. It wasn't long before I found myself once again facing Catwoman. This time, however, our encounter was more like a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. Selena was always one step ahead, leaving cryptic clues and messages that seemed to be leading me on a wild goose chase. As Batman, I couldn't help but admire her cunning and resourcefulness. Secrets and mysteries of bats. Seek slider at zip asterisk untitled. Find dialogue, find what, ed, find next. Asterisk untitled, notepad. Help but admire her cunning and resourcefulness. She was an expert at exploiting my weaknesses, forcing me to confront the duality of my life as Bruce Wayne and Batman. But as much as I respected her, I couldn't allow myself to be distracted from my mission to protect Gotham City. Selena's attempts to outwit me became increasingly elaborate and dangerous, testing my limits as both a detective and a crime fighter. I found myself navigating a maze of traps, riddles, and deception, all designed to keep me off balance and question my abilities. Despite the challenges that Catwoman presented, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to her actions than simply trying to evade capture. There seemed to be an underlying message in her antics, a desperate cry for help or understanding that I couldn't quite decipher. As the game continued, I became more determined than ever to uncover the truth behind Catwoman's motives. I knew that she was connected to the League of Shadows, but I couldn't believe that she was entirely beyond redemption. I needed to find a way to reach Selena, to help her see that there was another path available to her. One night, after deciphering one of her cryptic clues, I discovered her hiding in an abandoned warehouse near the docks. Instead of attempting to capture her, I chose to confront her as Bruce Wayne. I removed my cowl and mask, revealing my true identity to her. Selena seemed genuinely shocked by my revelation, but she didn't try to escape. Instead, we engaged in a heartfelt conversation, discussing our struggles with our dual identities and our feelings for one another. I pleaded with her to abandon her life as Catwoman and join me in my mission to protect Gotham City. In the end, Selena agreed to consider my offer, but she made it clear that she needed time to think. As she slipped away into the night, I couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope that our complicated relationship might finally be on the path to resolution. I knew that there were still many challenges ahead, but for the first time, I felt that there might be a chance for Selena and me to find a way to be together, without sacrificing our commitment to Gotham City. As I continued my investigation into the League of Shadows' involvement with the GPD hack, I found myself at the heart of their secret lair, hidden deep beneath Gotham City. It was there that I came face to face with Ra's al Ghul himself. Welcome, Detective Ross greeted me with a sinister smile. I must admit, I didn't think you would make it this far. I don't plan on stopping now, I replied, my voice steady and cold. You and your league will answer for the chaos you've caused in Gotham. Ross chuckled, his eyes narrowing. Oh, Batman. You still fail to see the bigger picture. We are merely catalysts for change, a necessary force to cleanse this corrupt city. I clenched my fists, anger boiling within me. You don't get to decide the fate of Gotham. It's my city, and I will protect it at all costs. Very well, Ross said, his tone shifting to one of malice. then you will face the consequences of your stubbornness. With a swift motion, he unsheathed a sword, its blade gleaming in the dim light. I followed suit, drawing my own weapon, prepared to defend Gotham to my last breath. Our blades clashed with a deafening ring, and we began a deadly dance of steel and fury. Ross was a skilled swordsman, but I had honed my skills through countless battles and training sessions with the best. As we fought, I pressed him for answers, trying to understand his true motives. Why involve the GPD? What do you hope to gain? Control, Batman Ross replied between strikes. By infiltrating the GPD, we gain influence over Gotham's infrastructure, allowing us to shape its future. I dodged a particularly vicious blow, my heart pounding in my chest. I won't let that happen. Our battle raged on, neither of us fearing to give an inch. But as the minutes wore on, I began to sense an opening in Ross' defenses. With a final, powerful swing, I disarmed him, sending his sword clattering to the ground. Ross stared at me, his eyes filled with a mixture of rage and resignation. Finish it, then he spat. I hesitated for a moment, considering my options. But I couldn't bring myself to take his life. Instead, I bound him with my bat rope and prepared to bring him to justice. You may have won this battle, Batman Ross hissed as I secured him. But the war is far from over. I'll be ready, I replied, determined to defend Gotham against any threat that dared to challenge it. And I won't be alone. After ensuring that Ra's al Ghul and his League of Shadows were safely locked away, I couldn't help but reflect on my tumultuous relationship with Serene. Our date, which had started as a pleasant evening, had led me down a dark path filled with betrayal, danger, and ultimately, redemption. As Bruce Wayne, I found myself in my study, pouring a glass of whiskey to calm my thoughts. That's when the door creaked open, and Selina entered, her gaze cautious yet inquisitive. "May I come in?" she asked hesitantly. I nodded, gesturing to the seat across from me. "What brings you here, Selina?" She sighed, sitting down and folding her hands in her lap. "I wanted to apologize, Bruce, for everything. I never meant for things to spiral out of control like this." I took a sip of my whiskey, considering her words. "Why did you do it, Selina? Why did you work with the League of Shadows?" Selina looked down, her voice barely a whisper. "At first, it was just for the thrill. But then, I started to believe in their cause, that Gotham needed a dramatic change. I didn't realize how wrong I was until it was too late." I leaned back in my chair, feeling the weight of her words. "You made a mistake, but you also helped me stop the League in the end." Selina looked up, her eyes filled with a mix of gratitude and remorse. "I want to make things right, Bruce. I know I can never fully atone for my actions, but I want to try." I met her gaze, and for a moment, I saw the woman I'd fallen for on that ill-fated date. The woman who, despite her flaws and mistakes, still had a heart that cared for Gotham. "Then let's work together," I said, my voice firm yet compassionate. "We can protect Gotham as a team, side by side." Selina smiled, a hint of hope shining in her eyes. "I'd like that, Bruce." As we sat there, discussing our plans for the future, I couldn't help but think that even in the darkest of times, there was still a chance for redemption and a brighter tomorrow. A few nights later, I found myself on a rooftop overlooking Gotham City, the sounds of sirens and chaos echoing below. I I couldn't help but reflect on my growing relationship with Selena. It was complicated, to say the least, but there was something about her that made me believe that we could make a real difference together. As I pondered this, Selena, or Catwoman, as she was now dressed, appeared beside me, her eyes scanning the cityscape. "You seem deep in thought," that she commented, a playful smirk gracing her lips. I turned to her, my voice a low growl. "Just thinking about everything we've been through recently." She nodded, her eyes softening. "It's been a wild ride, hasn't it?" I couldn't help but chuckle at her choice of words. "That's one way to put it." Selena leaned against the ledge, her gaze meeting mine. "But we make a good team, don't we?" I hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Yes, we do." She grinned, her confidence evident. "So, what's our next move, partner?" I scanned the city, my mind racing with plans and strategies. "We continue to protect Gotham, together. But we also need to focus on rebuilding what was lost during the League of Shadows' reign." Catwoman's eyes sparkled with determination. "Sounds like a plan." As we leaped into action, side by side, I couldn't help but feel a renewed sense of purpose. Despite our rocky past, Catwoman and I shared a common goal: to keep Gotham safe and bring justice to those who sought to harm it. And together, we would make that goal a reality. As Catwoman and I continued to dismantle the remnants of the League of Shadows, we came across information that led us to believe there was more to their computer hack plot than we initially thought. In a secret hideout, we discovered a trove of documents detailing their plans. "I can't believe it," Selena whispered, scanning the files. Ra's al Ghul was planning to use the computer hack to gain control of the entire city's infrastructure, not just the GPD. I frowned, taking in the gravity of the situation. He wanted to destabilize Gotham and rebuild it in his own twisted image. And he nearly succeeded, she added, her eyes full of concern. I clenched my fist, anger and determination surging through me. We have to put an end to his plans once and for all. We can't allow the League of Shadows to rise again. Catwoman nodded, her expression resolute. Agreed. We need to dig deeper and find out if there are any other threats lurking in the shadows. We spent the following weeks tracking down any leads we could find, dismantling every remaining cell of the League of Shadows that we encountered. It was a grueling process, but we refused to let Ra's al Ghul's twisted vision become a reality. As we fought side by side, our bond strengthened, and our resolve to protect Gotham only grew. Together, we would ensure that the city remained safe from those who wished to destroy it. Just when we thought we had finally rid Gotham of the League of Shadows, a new threat emerged. Reports started coming in of a massive, otherworldly plant growth enveloping entire city blocks, causing panic and chaos in its wake. It didn't take long to deduce that Poison Ivy was behind it. She must have been biding her time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, Catwoman mused as we surveyed the damage from a rooftop. I nodded, my jaw clenched. She's always been a wild card. We need to find her and stop her before this gets any worse. Selena placed a hand on my arm, her eyes filled with determination. We'll stop her, Bruce. Together. We descended into the chaos, battling through the overgrown vegetation that threatened to consume Gotham. As we fought, I couldn't help but feel a sense of déjà vu. It was as if the city was once again under siege by a force we couldn't control. We finally tracked Poison Ivy down to the heart of the overgrowth, where she was using her powers to manipulate the massive plants, causing them to grow and multiply at an alarming rate. Ivy sneered as she saw us approach.
You did not.
Ah, the bat and the cat. I should have known you'd try to stand in my way. You won't succeed, Ivy, I growled, my fists clenched at my sides. Gotham won't be destroyed by your twisted idea
All
of
the way
nature's
back.
revenge. She laughed, a wicked, chilling sound. We'll see about that. The battle that followed was intense, with Ivy's plants proving to be formidable opponents. But with Catwoman at my side, we fought tooth and nail to protect the city we loved. And, in the end, we managed to subdue Ivy and put an end to her reign of terror. Exhausted but triumphant, Selina and I stood amid the wreckage of Ivy's plot, our hearts heavy with the knowledge that our work was never truly done. There would always be another threat, another battle to fight. But as long as we had each other, we knew we could face whatever challenges Gotham threw our way. As we stood there, catching our breaths, I looked at Selina and realized just how much she had changed since our first encounter. She was no longer the cunning thief I had first met. She had become a true ally and partner in our fight for Gotham. Selina, I said softly, my eyes meeting hers. I never properly thanked you for your help with the League of Shadows and everything else. You've proven yourself to be more than just a thief, you're a hero. She looked away, a hint of vulnerability in her eyes. I didn't do it for the thanks, Bruce. I did it because I realized there was more to life than just looking out for myself. You showed me that. My heart swelled with pride and affection for this remarkable woman who had come so far. You have a good heart, Selina. And I'm grateful to have you by my side. She smiled, her eyes shining with unshed tears. I'm grateful, too. In that moment, I knew our relationship had evolved into something much deeper than I had ever anticipated. As we continued to fight for Gotham, we would also be fighting for each other, bound by our shared purpose and the love that had blossomed between us. And though the road ahead would be filled with challenges, I knew we would face them together, as partners and as equals. In the days that followed our victory over the League of Shadows, Gotham City began to heal. The GCPD worked tirelessly to restore order and rebuild their systems, and I was proud to see the resilience of our city's people. Despite the chaos, they came together to support one another and rebuild their lives. One evening, as I stood on the rooftop overlooking the city, Selina joined me. We watched the sunset together, the warm glow casting a golden light over the buildings below. Things are finally starting to get back to normal, she said, a contented smile on her face. I nodded. It's been a long road, but we made it through. And we couldn't have done it without you, Selina. She shrugged, trying to brush off the praise. I just did what needed to be done. I took her hand, giving it a gentle squeeze. You're an important part of this team, Selina. I hope you know that. She looked at me, her eyes filled with gratitude. I do, Bruce. And I'm proud to be a part of it. As we stood there, hand in hand, I knew that our partnership was stronger than ever. We had weathered the storm and come out the other side, united in our love for each other and our determination to protect Gotham City. And though we knew there would be more challenges ahead, we were ready to face them together, as Batman and Catwoman, partners in every sense of the word. The scars of the League of Shadows attack on Gotham remained, and I couldn't shake the feeling that more danger lurked in the shadows. As Batman, I knew my mission was to protect the city from those who sought to do it harm. And as Bruce Wayne, I was committed to helping Gotham rebuild and heal. But my quest for vengeance and justice was far from over. There were still remnants of the League of Shadows scattered throughout the city, and I made it my mission to hunt them down and bring them to justice. Alongside Catwoman, we spent our nights tirelessly pursuing leads and engaging in battles with the remaining members of the organization. During the day, I continued to fund and support initiatives to improve the city. I worked with Lucius Fox and Wayne Enterprises to create new jobs and develop cutting-edge technology that would help Gotham City become a safer place for its citizens. But even as we made progress, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was still amiss. Ra's al Ghul's final words echoed in my mind, a haunting reminder of the darkness that still threatened our city. This is not the end, Batman. The League of Shadows will rise again. I knew that my battle against evil would never truly be over. There would always be new threats to face and new challenges to overcome. But with Catwoman by my side and the support of my allies, I was determined to continue my quest for vengeance and justice, for the sake of Gotham City and the people who called it home. Settings window. Use narrator. Exiting narrator.
I get inside this one?
Join us for a journey like no other. Prehistoric Planet 2 on Apple TV+.
That sounds fun. That looks like nothingness. We just
In a world where chaos reigns and connections seem fleeting.
Words.
Notepad window. Text editor, editing. 1.1 Unexpected house guest. One fine afternoon, as the sun cast its warm, golden rays over the fields of Green Gables, Anne Shirley was busying herself with her daily chores. Marilla had left her in charge of the house, as she was to visit Rachel Lynde for the day. Anne felt a sense of pride and responsibility, knowing that she had earned Marilla's trust. As Anne was setting the table for dinner, she heard a faint knock on the door. Puzzled, she approached and opened it, revealing a young girl, no more than 10 years old, standing on the doorstep. Her clothes were tattered, and her face was smeared with dirt. Her large, brown eyes were filled with a mixture of fear and hope. "Excuse me, miss," the girl stammered, her voice trembling. "I'm so sorry to bother you, but I've been walking for days, and I'm terribly hungry. Might you have some food to spare?" Anne's heart went out to the girl immediately. She remembered all too well her own experiences of being alone and hungry, and she couldn't bear to see this child suffer. "Of course, dear," Anne replied, her voice filled with warmth and kindness. "Come in and sit down. I'll fix you something right away." The girl stepped into the cozy kitchen, her eyes wide with wonder at the sight of the lovingly tended home. As Anne bustled about, preparing a plate of food for the girl, she couldn't help but ask, "What's your name, dear? And where have you come from?" The girl hesitated for a moment before answering, "My name is Emily, miss. I've come from the orphanage in Hopetown. I ran away because, well, it wasn't a very nice place to live." Anne's eyes filled with empathy as she listened to Emily's story. It reminded her of her own past, and she knew that she couldn't turn her back on this girl. She would help Emily in any way she could, even if it meant defying Marilla's strict rules. As Anne continued to care for Emily, she found herself growing fond of the girl. She admired Emily's determination and resilience, as well as her vivid imagination, which reminded Anne of her own younger self. Despite their hardships, the two girls found solace in each other's company, and a bond began to form between them. But Anne knew that she couldn't keep Emily's presence a secret from Marilla forever. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over Green Gables, Anne resolved to speak to Marilla about Emily, hoping that she would find it in her heart to help the young girl, just as she had helped Anne herself. B.A. Herbison continued. 1.2 A difficult conversation. As Marilla returned to Green Gables later that evening, Anne's heart raced with anticipation. She knew that convincing Marilla to allow Emily to stay, even temporarily, would not be an easy task. Marilla had a strict sense of propriety, and Anne could only imagine the disapproval that would cloud her face upon hearing of the unexpected guest. Gathering her courage, Anne approached Marilla as she entered the house. "Marilla, there's something I need to talk to you about," she began hesitantly. Marilla raised an eyebrow, her gaze flickering with suspicion. "What is it, Anne?" she asked, her voice stern. Anne took a deep breath, her words tumbling out in a rush. "There's a girl named Emily who came to our door this afternoon. She's run away from the orphanage in Hopetown, and she's had such a hard life. I couldn't just send her away, Marilla. I've been taking care of her, and I think we should help her." Marilla's eyes narrowed as she listened to Anne's story. "I understand your concern, Anne, but we can't simply take in every stray child who comes knocking at our door. It's not our responsibility, and it's not proper." Anne's eyes shone with determination. "I know it might not be proper, Marilla, but it's the right thing to do. Emily needs our help, and I believe we can make a difference in her life. Just like you did for me." Marilla sighed heavily, torn between her sense of duty and her love for Anne. She knew that Anne's heart was in the right place, but she also understood the potential complications that could arise from harboring a runaway. "I'll think about it, Anne," she said finally. "But for now, let's make sure Emily has a place to sleep tonight." Anne's face lit up with gratitude as she led Marilla to the small guest room where Emily was resting. As the two women watched the girl sleep, their hearts softened, and they knew that, for better or worse, they had become entwined in her fate. Together, they would face the challenges that lay ahead, and do everything in their power to help Emily find the happiness and security she so desperately sought. B.A. Herbison continue. 1.3 The visit to the orphanage. The following morning, Anne, Marilla, and Emily set off on a journey to Hopetown. Marilla had decided that the best course of action would be to speak with the orphanage's matron and inform her of Emily's whereabouts. She hoped that by doing so, they could come to an understanding and help Emily without causing any trouble. Upon arriving at the bleak, gray building, Anne's heart ached for Emily and the countless other children who had been forced to call this place home. The orphanage was a stark contrast to the warmth and beauty of Green Gables, and Anne couldn't help but feel a surge of protectiveness for the girl at her side. As they were ushered into the matron's office, Marilla took the lead, explaining the situation with a calm, authoritative voice. The matron, a stern, middle-aged woman with a pinched face, listened intently, her expression unreadable. When Marilla finished speaking, the matron fixed her gaze on Emily. "Is this true?" she asked, her voice cold. Emily nodded, her eyes downcast. "Yes, ma'am," she whispered. The matron sighed, her demeanor softening ever so slightly. "It's not that I don't sympathize with your situation, Emily, but you must understand that running away only complicates matters. We have rules and procedures in place for a reason." Anne could no longer hold her tongue. "But, ma'am," she interjected, "surely there must be a better solution than forcing Emily to return to a place where she's so unhappy. Can't something be done to help her?" The matron studied Anne for a moment before responding. "We will look into her case and see if there are any other options. In the meantime, I will allow Emily to stay with you at Green Gables, under the condition that she is returned here if a more suitable arrangement cannot be found." Marilla nodded, grateful for the temporary reprieve. "Thank you, ma'am. We'll do everything we can to ensure Emily's well-being." As the trio left the orphanage, Anne's heart swelled with hope. Though the future was uncertain, she knew that Emily's life had been forever changed, and she was determined to do everything in her power to make sure it was a change for the better. B.A. Herbison Continue 1.4. Emily's first day at school. Anne couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and worry as she prepared Emily for her first day at Avonlea School. Emily, still shy and unsure of herself, looked to Anne for guidance and reassurance. "You'll love school, I promise," Anne said, helping Emily adjust her pinafore. "The other children might seem a little intimidating at first, but they're all really kind once you get to know them." Emily's eyes widened. "Will I make friends, Anne?" she asked nervously. Anne smiled and hugged her. "Of course you will. Just be yourself, and you'll find that people will be drawn to your sweet and gentle nature." Together, Anne and Emily walked the familiar path to school, with Anne regaling her new sister with stories of her own adventures and the many friends she had made along the way. As they approached the schoolhouse, Emily clutched Anne's hand tightly, her face pale with anxiety. Inside, the other children whispered and stared as Emily took a seat beside Anne. Although the attention was overwhelming, Emily tried her best to remember Anne's advice and focus on her lessons. At recess, Anne introduced Emily to Diana, Ruby, and the other girls. They all seemed curious about the new arrival, and Emily blushed under their scrutiny. It wasn't long, however, before the girls were chatting and laughing together, with Emily slowly coming out of her shell. As the day went on, Emily began to feel more at ease, both in the classroom and with her new peers. By the time the final bell rang, she had made a few tentative friendships and was eager to return to school the next day. That evening, as Anne and Emily recounted their day to Marilla, it was clear that Emily's first day at school had been a success. Marilla smiled, grateful that her decision to bring Emily into their home had not only given the girl a chance at a better life but had also enriched their own lives in the process. B.A. Herbison Continue 1.5. The school spelling bee. The excitement was palpable at Avonlea School as the students prepared for the upcoming spelling bee. The children were eager to showcase their spelling prowess, and a friendly rivalry had formed between Anne and Gilbert, both determined to outdo each other. Emily, too, had discovered a talent for spelling and was determined to make her new family proud. Anne and Marilla had spent countless evenings helping her practice, and she was eager to prove herself. On the day of the spelling bee, the schoolhouse was abuzz with anticipation. The students took their seats, and the competition began. One by one, the children stepped up to the chalkboard and took their turn, with some succumbing to nerves while others spelled their words with ease. As the competition progressed, it became clear that Anne, Gilbert, and Emily were the front runners. The tension in the room grew as the words became more challenging, and the audience held their breath with each new round. Finally, it came down to the last few words. Anne, Gilbert, and Emily stood at the front of the classroom, their faces a mixture of determination and anxiety. Miss Stacy read out the next word, chrysanthemum. Anne stepped forward, her brow furrowed in concentration. She spelled the word slowly and deliberately, her confidence growing with each letter. As she completed the word, a round of applause erupted from the audience, and Anne beamed with pride. Next, it was Gilbert's turn. Miss Stacy gave him the word anti-disestablishmentarian. Gilbert hesitated for a moment before diving in, successfully spelling the lengthy word. The audience gasped in amazement, and Gilbert grinned triumphantly. Finally, it was Emily's turn. Miss Stacy read out her word, kaleidoscope. Emily took a deep breath and began to spell, her voice shaking slightly. As she reached the final letter, a hush fell over the room. B.A. Herbison continue 1.6. A celebratory tea party. Miss Stacy paused for a moment before announcing that Emily had spelled her word correctly. The room burst into applause, and the three finalists exchanged proud smiles. The spelling bee had come to an end, and the students began to disperse, chatting excitedly about the event. Marilla, who had come to watch the competition, approached Em, Gilbert, and Emily, her eyes shining with pride. "You all did wonderfully," she said warmly. "I am so proud of you, and I'm sure your families are too." As a way to celebrate the successful spelling bee, Marilla suggested hosting a small tea party at Green Gables for Anne, Gilbert, Emily, and their families. The children enthusiastically agreed, and plans were set in motion. On the day of the tea party, the sun shone brightly, casting a warm glow over Green Gables. The table was set with Marilla's finest china, and an array of delicious treats awaited the guests, including freshly baked scones, sandwiches, and an assortment of sweets. Anne, Gilbert, and Emily excitedly greeted their guests as they arrived. The atmosphere was light and joyful as everyone congratulated the children on their spelling bee success. Even Rachel Lindy, who could often be critical, had nothing but praise for the young spellers. As the tea party progressed, Anne, Gilbert, and Emily regaled their guests with stories of their preparation for the spelling bee and the excitement of the competition. Laughter and good cheer filled the room as everyone enjoyed the celebration. At the end of the day, the guests bid their farewells, their hearts full of happiness and pride. Anne, Gilbert, and Emily stood together, grateful for the memories they had made and the friendships they had forged. The tea party had been a perfect way to celebrate their accomplishments and to remind them of the importance of supporting one another in both challenges and triumphs. B.A. Herbison continue 1.7. A day at the seashore. A few days after the tea party, Anne and her friends were still basking in the glow of their spelling bee success. Gilbert suggested that they all take a day trip to the seashore to celebrate further and enjoy the beauty of Prince Edward Island. Anne, Gilbert, and Emily eagerly agreed, and they set off early one morning, carrying a picnic basket filled with sandwiches and treats Marilla had prepared for them. The friends walked the familiar path to the shore, taking in the scent of the salty sea air and the sound of the waves crashing against the rocks. Upon reaching the seashore, they spread a blanket on the soft sand and sat down to enjoy their picnic. The trio laughed and chatted as they ate, sharing their dreams and ambitions for the future. Anne spoke of her desire to become a writer, Gilbert expressed his interest in pursuing medicine, and Emily revealed her passion for art and painting. After the meal, the friends decided to explore the nearby tide pools. They marveled at the colorful sea creatures and plants that called the pools home, carefully avoiding the sharp rocks as they moved from one pool to another. As the day went on, they collected shells and bits of smooth sea glass, each piece a treasure they would keep as a memento of their day at the seashore. They also took turns burying one another in the sand, laughing and joking as they created elaborate sand sculptures around each other. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow on the water, the friends gathered their belongings and made their way back to Green Gables. The day at the seashore had been one of pure joy and camaraderie, a reminder of the simple pleasures in life and the importance of cherishing the moments spent with good friends. B.A. Herbison continue 1.8. A forgotten diary. One rainy afternoon, Anne found herself alone in the Green Gables attic, searching for a book to read. As she rummaged through the piles of dusty volumes and long-forgotten trinkets, she stumbled upon a small, leather-bound diary hidden in the corner. Curious, Anne opened the diary to find that it belonged to Marilla's mother, a woman Anne had only heard brief stories about. With a mixture of excitement and reverence, Anne began to read the pages, each entry offering a glimpse into the life of a woman she had never met but felt an immediate connection with. The diary revealed the dreams and disappointments of Marilla's mother, her hopes for her children, and her love for her husband. It was a raw and honest account of a life filled with joy, sorrow, and everything in between. As Anne read, she found herself lost in the world of the past, marveling at the similarities and differences between her own experiences and those of Marilla's mother. She felt a profound sense of gratitude for the woman who had come before her, whose words now connected them across the decades. When the rain finally stopped, Anne carefully returned the diary to its hiding place, determined to share her discovery with Marilla. She knew that the diary would be a treasure to Marilla as well, a reminder of the woman who had shaped their lives in so many ways. As Anne descended the attic stairs, she couldn't help but feel a sense of kinship with the women of Green Gables, past and present. The forgotten diary had opened a door to the past and deepened Anne's appreciation for the strong, resilient women who had come before her, paving the way for her own dreams and ambitions. B.A. Herbison Continue 1.9. A lesson in forgiveness. One day, Diana came to Green Gables in tears, confessing to Anne that she had accidentally broken a cherished heirloom belonging to her mother. The beautiful porcelain vase had been a wedding gift, and Diana knew her mother would be heartbroken. Anne, wanting to comfort her friend, shared the story of the time she had accidentally dyed her hair green, emphasizing that everyone made mistakes. She then hatched a plan to help Diana make amends for the broken vase. Together, the girls searched for a suitable replacement, eventually finding a lovely, antique vase at a nearby shop. They pooled their money and purchased the vase, hoping it would ease the blow of the loss. When Diana presented the new vase to her mother, she tearfully apologized for the accident and offered the replacement as a token of her remorse. To Diana's surprise, her mother forgave her without hesitation, explaining that while the original vase held sentimental value, nothing was more important than the love and understanding between them. Diana's mother's forgiveness was a valuable lesson for both girls, showing them the power of grace and understanding in the face of adversity. As they walked back to Green Gables, Anne and Diana marveled at the resilience of the human spirit and the importance of forgiving not only others but also themselves. With newfound wisdom, Anne and Diana vowed to carry this lesson of forgiveness into their futures, knowing that it would serve them well in the face of life's inevitable challenges and setbacks. They walked arm in arm, grateful for the bond they shared and the love that bound them together. B.A. Herbison Continue 2.1. The picnic at White Sands. As spring blossomed into summer, Anne and Diana decided to plan a picnic at White Sands, a picturesque beach not far from Green Gables. The girls eagerly anticipated the day, making lists of all the delightful treats they would bring and imagining the fun they would have frolicking on the sandy shore. Marilla agreed to make her famous raspberry cordial and some sandwiches, while Diana's mother promised to bake her scrumptious cherry tarts. On the morning of the picnic, the girls packed a large basket full of their delectable treats and set off on their adventure. Upon arriving at White Sands, Anne and Diana were captivated by the beauty of the location. The beach stretched out before them, the sparkling ocean waves crashing gently on the shore. Seagulls soared above, their cries mingling with the laughter of other picnickers enjoying the warm summer day. Anne and Diana selected a perfect spot beneath a large, shady tree and spread out their picnic blanket. They feasted on the delicious food, sipping Marilla's raspberry cordial and laughing at the antics of the seagulls that tried to swoop down and steal their cherry tarts. After lunch, the girls ventured down to the water's edge, where they removed their shoes and stockings and waded into the cool, refreshing waves. They splashed and played, laughing and shouting as the water lapped at their ankles, the sun warming their faces. As the afternoon wore on, Anne and Diana decided to explore the beach's rocky tide pools, where they discovered a multitude of fascinating sea creatures. Anne, captivated by a tiny crab scuttling across the sand, excitedly shared her knowledge of marine life with Diana, who listened with rapt attention. B.A. Herbison Continue 2.2. A surprising discovery. As Anne and Diana continued their exploration of the tide pools, Anne spotted something glinting in the sunlight. Intrigued, she carefully picked her way over the slippery rocks to investigate. To her delight, she found a beautiful seashell, its iridescent colors shimmering in the light. "Look, Diana," Anne called out, holding up her find. "Isn't it the most exquisite seashell you've ever seen?" Diana hurried over and admired the shell. It's lovely, and you should keep it as a memento of our picnic. Anne agreed, tucking the shell safely into her pocket. The girls continued their exploration, finding more fascinating treasures among the tide pools, such as smooth, colorful pebbles and intricately patterned sea urchin shells. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, Anne and Diana decided it was time to pack up and head home. They carefully stowed their treasures in the picnic basket and began their journey back to Green Gables. As they walked, Anne couldn't help but share her excitement about the day's discoveries. Just think, Diana, these seashells and pebbles have traveled the world, carried by the ocean currents. They have so many stories to tell. Diana smiled at her friend's enthusiasm. I suppose that's true, Anne. I'm glad we were able to make such wonderful memories today. The girls continued on, chatting and laughing as they made their way home, their hearts filled with the joy of their shared adventure. B.A. Herbison continued 2.3. A Tale of the Sea. The following day, Anne and Diana met again at the small bridge by the Avonlea schoolhouse, where they exchanged their recent finds from the shore. The girls decided to weave imaginative tales about their discoveries, using the seashells, pebbles, and other treasures as inspiration. Anne went first, holding up the iridescent seashell she had found. This shell once belonged to a mermaid queen who ruled a vast underwater kingdom, she began, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Her name was Queen Maris, and she was known far and wide for her kindness and wisdom. As Anne spun her tale, Diana listened in awe, captivated by the vivid images her friend painted with her words. She could see the mermaid queen sitting on her coral throne, her long, flowing hair adorned with pearls and seashells. The mermaid queen had many sea creature friends, Anne continued. One day, a great storm threatened her kingdom, and she bravely led her friends to safety, saving everyone from the raging waves. When Anne finished her story, Diana clapped enthusiastically. That was a beautiful tale, Anne. I could almost see the mermaid queen in her underwater kingdom. Now it's your turn, Diana, Anne urged, handing her friend a smooth, green pebble. Diana hesitated for a moment, then began her tale. This pebble was once a part of a hidden treasure chest, filled with gold coins and precious jewels. As the girls took turns sharing their stories, their friendship deepened, and the treasures they had found took on new meaning, enriched by the magic of their imagination. B.A. Herbison continued 2.4. The Avonlea Garden Club. A few days later, Anne and Diana found themselves involved in an exciting new project in Avonlea. The village had decided to start a garden club, and the girls eagerly volunteered to help plan and create a community garden. Marilla attended the first meeting of the club with Anne and Diana, offering her knowledge and experience as a gardener. The club members, including Mrs. Rachel Lindy and Mrs. Allen, discussed various ideas for the garden, such as the types of flowers and vegetables to plant, as well as the layout and design. Anne suggested planting a small grove of cherry trees in one corner of the garden, as a tribute to the beauty of the White Way of Delight. The idea was warmly received, and the girls were put in charge of selecting and planting the cherry trees. Over the following weeks, Anne and Diana worked diligently with the other members of the Avonlea Garden Club to bring their vision to life. They carefully prepared the soil, planted seeds, and watered the young plants, watching with joy as the garden began to take shape. As the cherry trees blossomed and the flowers bloomed, the community garden became a source of pride and enjoyment for the entire village. Anne and Diana spent many happy hours tending to the plants and marveling at the beauty they had helped create. And as the garden grew, so too did the girls' friendship, rooted in the shared experiences and memories they were creating in their beloved Avonlea. B.A. Herbison continued 2.5. The poetry competition. One day, as Anne and Diana were perusing the pages of a newspaper, they came across an advertisement for a regional poetry competition. The grand prize was a collection of books by their favorite poets, and the girls were instantly intrigued. Anne, with her talent for words and love of poetry, decided to enter the contest. Diana, ever the supportive friend, encouraged Anne in her endeavor and offered to help her revise and polish her submission.
I don't
4
remember
days,
either.
Anne poured her heart and soul into crafting a
I don't
poem that
remember either.
encapsulated the beauty of Avonlea and the enchanting world she had come to know and love. Diana provided thoughtful feedback
yeah.
and encouragement, and together they worked to create a poem they both believed could win the competition. At last, the day arrived for Anne to submit her poem. She carefully transcribed her words onto fine paper, signed her name, and sent it off with a hopeful heart. As they waited for the results, Anne and Diana spent many afternoons discussing the merits of their favorite poets and dreaming of the possibility of winning the grand prize. When the announcement came that Anne's poem had been awarded an honorable mention, the girls were thrilled. Although Anne had not won the grand prize, the recognition of her talent was a victory in itself.
I'm playing a
The
game and we're
experience
listening
had
to
brought
Anne of
Anne and
Green
Diana
Gables.
closer than ever and had inspired them to continue pursuing their literary dreams together. B.A.
Is that
Herbison
loud enough so
continued
you can hear Anne of
2.6.
Green Gables, or
The
is it not
cherry
loud enough?
blossom picnic. As the days grew warmer, Anne and Diana began to plan a special picnic under the cherry blossom trees that lined the road to Green Gables. The girls invited their classmates from Avonlea School and
We're what?
even managed to convince Marilla and Rachel Lindy to join in the
Forever.
festivities. On the morning of the picnic, Anne and Diana prepared a feast of sandwiches, lemonade, and, of course, Anne's famous raspberry cordial. They also packed a basket full of their favorite books, blankets, and games to share with their friends. When
Okay.
everyone arrived at the Cherry Blossom Grove, they were in awe of the sight before them. The delicate pink petals of the blossoms created a canopy overhead, showering the ground in a carpet of pink. It was as if they had stepped into a fairyland, and the beauty of the scene took their breath away. As the day unfolded, the friends enjoyed their feast, read aloud from their favorite books, and played games of tag and hide and seek. Anne and Diana even treated their guests to an impromptu recitation of their favorite poems, including Anne's recently recognized work from the poetry competition. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow through the blossoms, the friends reluctantly packed up their belongings and said their goodbyes. They all agreed that the cherry blossom picnic had been an unforgettable day,
What the heck?
filled with laughter, friendship, and the enchanting beauty of nature. B.A. Herbison continued 2.7. Marilla's hidden talent one evening,
Oh,
as
I
Anne
have to
and
do the
Marilla
song?
sat by the fire in the parlor, Anne noticed Marilla humming a soft tune under her breath. Intrigued, Anne asked, "Marilla, I've never heard you hum or sing before. Do you enjoy music?" Marilla looked up from her knitting, surprised by the question. "Well, I suppose I do, Anne.
Okay.
I used to play the piano when I was
Over
younger,
here.
but I haven't touched it in years."
We'll do-
Anne's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Oh, Marilla, please play for me. I would love to hear you play the piano." Marilla hesitated, but the eager look in Anne's eyes finally convinced her. The two of them moved to the rarely used piano in the corner of the room. Marilla dusted off the keys and began to play a gentle, lilting melody that filled the room with warmth and emotion. Anne listened, utterly enchanted by Marilla's unexpected talent. She had always admired Marilla for her strength, wisdom, and practicality, but now she felt a
Can you
new
hear it now?
appreciation for the depth and sensitivity that Marilla had hidden beneath her stern exterior. As Marilla finished the piece, Anne clapped her hands in delight. "Oh, Marilla, that was simply wonderful. I never knew you had such a gift for music." Marilla blushed,
Tell
embarrassed
Kayla
by
to
the
get an
praise,
extension
but
cord
she
so you
couldn't
can
help
have more
but
than
smile
one
at
device
Anne's
plugged in at the same
enthusiasm.
time.
"Well,
Then you
Anne,
can just watch
it's
the
been a
video at
long
the same
time
time,
since I
and I don't
played,
have to, like,
but
stream
I'm
it."
glad you enjoyed it. Perhaps I'll play again sometime." From that day on, music became a cherished part of Anne and Marilla's life at Green Gables, bringing them closer together and adding a touch of beauty and harmony to their days. B.A. Herbison continued 2.8. A surprise visit from Rachel Lindy. One sunny afternoon, Anne was busy in the kitchen, attempting to bake a batch of her favorite raspberry scones. Marilla had gone to town for some errands, leaving Anne to her culinary adventures. As Anne carefully measured out the ingredients, she heard a knock at the door. Opening it, she found Mrs. Rachel Lindy standing on the doorstep, looking somewhat flustered. "Oh, hello, Mrs. Lindy. What a surprise to see you today. Do come in," Anne said with a smile. Rachel stepped inside, taking in the scent of baking scones with a raised eyebrow. "Well, Anne, I didn't mean to intrude, but I was passing by and thought I'd stop in to see how you and Marilla were getting on." Anne led Rachel into the parlor and offered her a seat. "Marilla is in town at the moment, but she should be back shortly. Would you like some tea while you wait?" Rachel nodded, and Anne bustled off to the kitchen to prepare the tea. As they sipped their tea and nibbled on scones, Rachel couldn't help but notice the changes in Anne since her arrival at Green Gables. The once
If you
impetuous
can't hear
and
it
dreamy
when I
girl had
stream
matured
it,
into
then
a
you
thoughtful
need
and
two
responsible
devices,
young
one
woman,
to video
while
chat
still
and
retaining
one
her
to
unique
watch
charm
the
and
video on
imagination.
your end.
Rachel sighed, her
So
stern
that's why
expression softening.
Kayla needs an
"Anne,
extension
I
cord
must
from the
admit I
dollar
was
store,
quite
and I
wrong
told her
about
that
you
like
when
a
you
month
first
ago,
came
and
Green
everyone
Gables.
ignores me.
You've grown into a fine young lady, and I'm proud to know you. Anne blushed, touched by Rachel's words. Thank you, Mrs.
What's your idea?
Lindy. Your friendship means a great deal to me. As the two of them chatted away the afternoon, Rachel couldn't help but feel a newfound affection for Anne. Their relationship,
That's a good idea. How do I
once
do
fraught
that?
with misunderstanding and disapproval, had blossomed into a genuine friendship that would last a lifetime. B.A. Herbison continued 2.9. A misadventure in the woods one Saturday, Anne and Diana decided to go on an adventure
I
in
don't
the
know
woods
how to
near
get to
Green
yours.
Gables. The autumn leaves had turned the forest into a vibrant tapestry of reds, oranges, and yellows, and the crisp air seemed to beckon them further into the woods. As they walked, Anne entertained Diana with tales of the woodland spirits she imagined dwelling among the trees. I'm quite certain that dryads and naiads live
Probably
here,
need
Diana.
like an adult
Can't
to
you just feel
supervise
the
the
magic in the
connection
air?
to
Diana, ever the loyal friend,
technical to do
played
that. You
along,
would need-
enjoying the
you would need
stories
to know
that
my
Anne's
name or I would need
imagination
to know your
conjured
name.
up. They continued deeper into
If I
the
just
woods,
search for
so
Nora,
enraptured by
there's
their
probably
adventure that they
billions of
didn't
Noras.
realize how far they had wandered from home. As the sun began to set, Anne and
Only
Diana
one.
suddenly realized they were
Only
lost.
one, Nora.
The woods, which had seemed so inviting earlier, now
Oh,
took on a
cool.
more sinister air as shadows stretched across the forest floor. Anne tried to put on a brave face, but she couldn't help the shiver that ran down her spine. We
Okay.
must retrace our steps, Diana, Anne said, her voice wavering slightly. I'm sure we can find our way back before it gets too dark. The two girls started back the way they had come, but the dimming light and the confusing tangle of trees and underbrush made it difficult
Cool
to find their
shades.
path. As the last rays of sunlight
They're
disappeared,
humorously
Anne and
oversized.
Diana huddled together, their hearts pounding with fear. Just as they were beginning to lose hope, they heard the distant sound of a familiar voice calling their names. Anne. Diana. Where are you? Matthew. Anne cried out, relief washing over her. We're here, Matthew. We're lost in the woods. Guided by his steady voice, the girls stumbled through the darkness until they found Matthew waiting for them, a lantern in hand. His face was etched with worry, but his eyes shone with relief as he wrapped them both in a warm embrace. Thank goodness you're both safe, he said, leading them back to Green Gables. We were worried sick when you didn't come home. As they walked, Anne couldn't help but think that even in their darkest moments, the love and support of their family and friends were the true magic that would always guide them home. B.A. Herbison continued 3.1. The charitable bazaar. The village of Avonlea buzzed with excitement as the residents prepared for a charitable bazaar to raise funds for the local schoolhouse. Marilla, Anne, and Diana were all eager to help, and they decided to organize a stall selling homemade jams and preserves.
Can you hear
In
now?
the days leading up to the bazaar, the Cuthbert's kitchen transformed into a hive of activity. Anne, Marilla, and Diana worked tirelessly, stirring pots of bubbling fruits and sugar, and carefully spooning the mixtures into jars. The scent of raspberries, strawberries, and currants filled the air, mingling with the sweetness of their friendship and laughter. Meanwhile, Rachel Lindy busied herself with organizing the other stalls and activities, her usual bossy manner softened by the excitement of the upcoming event. The whole village seemed to come together in the spirit of generosity and
Okay.
goodwill. The day of the bazaar dawned bright and sunny,
Sounds
with a
good.
warm breeze rustling through the trees. Green Gables lawn was transformed into a lively fairground, with stalls selling all manner of homemade goods, from quilts and knitted scarves to
So that was an interesting one. Begin by simply listening. Slow down. See just how peaceful today can be. I think I'm going to wrap it up there because things are getting complicated over here. Catch you guys on the flip side.
pies and pastries. There were also games and activities for the children, including a sack race and a guess the weight of the pumpkin contest. Anne, Marilla, and Diana proudly displayed their collection of jams and preserves on a table draped with a white lace tablecloth. Their colorful jars sparkled in the sunlight, attracting the attention of many passers-by. As the day wore on, the three friends enjoyed watching the happy faces of the villagers as they sampled their wares. They received countless
This is the new Google Pixel Fold, the only foldable phone engineered by Google. It's just as amazing folded as it is